Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, we're in the 01 Ford Escape here, and the brake booster is dying. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. I'm going to start it up real quick, just so you can hear it, hopefully. And you probably can't hear that anyway, so we're going to bring you down here and show you. Alright, I don't know what you can or cannot see here, but I'm going to try and start it one more time and see if you hear that noise. It should be an air rushing noise. And what that noise is, I believe, is a seal in this area here is shot. Now, I looked for rebuild kits for this 01 Ford Escape, and for some reason couldn't find any online. Didn't really look around here because what I was finding seemed like it was pretty expensive anyways, especially for the parts. And on Amazon, to get like a rebuilt one, they were between 70 and 100 bucks, somewhere around there. So I called my local wrecking yard, and luckily they had one I could use. Now, there's a couple different rigs that this body style shares, and I don't know if it was Nissan. And I checked out my Chilton, and it's for the Escape and Mazda Tribute 2000. And they all share kind of the same parts, so this seemed like it was pretty easy to get. So might be something to look at. Local wrecking yard. It was 35 bucks. Usual with parts, the first thing you want to do is check the part. Make sure everything looks right. So far this one looks okay. And compare it to the one is in there. And this one appears to be the same thing. With it all the way in there and everything attached to it, there's no way to check for sure. And I'm going to have to check all the measurements and stuff of the rod and all those kind of things once we pull it out. But this should all work. And I don't know if this is a rebuilt one, used one, what it is, but the parts here look pretty clean and fairly new looking. So under the hood here, driver's side, got the brake booster here, master cylinder here, and this one says we should be able to hopefully take off the master cylinder, just detach it from the brake booster without undoing everything. Just says to be careful. Well, that's out. It does talk about needing to remove things from the evap canister, maybe. So we may have to remove some of this stuff, but I think I can probably just take this whole thing with maybe one or two nuts and disconnect it from where it is. But for right now, we're just going to see, we're going to unhook this. It's got two bolts, one on either side. They're both 13 millimeter, it appears. And just to get it out of the way here, it does talk about taking this hose off of here at some point. I'm just going to do it right now, and that should just pull right on out. We'll set that to the side, and I'll keep on working on these nuts here. Well, there was two 10 millimeter nuts right here, and the other one kitty corner down there, which allowed me to pull this off here. And I also had to unplug it. That was easy. Just use your thumb and pull that off of there. Now I'm trying to get this one off of here. And it has been more of a pain in the butt. And I messed with it until I finally figured it out. And I will show you so you know. Put that back for now. On mine, it looks like there's something kind of broke up here. I'm not sure it was that way. But there's a red thing here that you pop out like that, and then you push down on this. There's a thing underneath it, and once you push that, you gotta pull this just right, or was it pop up? Nope. Push down. There you go. You push down on it, and it seems to work better if you use your thumb right here, and you'll hear a click, and that'll pull right off of there. So that one was a little bit more a different type of plug than I'd ever seen before. So now you know. Now we're getting this thing out of the way here. So got everything out of the way now. Hopefully we should be able to just pull this back and out. And be real careful, because if you bend these lines or break these lines, you're going to be kind of screwed. I'm not sure. It looks like about it. So we're gonna have to see if we're gonna have enough room in between here to pull things out. But now that everything's loose out here, we gotta go up under the dash. We are up underneath the dash here. You got the one there, and you can kind of go by the steering column and see there's one there, and then one up above in that corner. Fairly simple to get to. I believe they're 13 millimeter. If they're not, I will tell you. But the first thing we need to do is take that clip right there. It's at the top of the brake pedal. So just take your brake pedal, follow the arm all the way up, and right at that, not even at the top, it's about halfway through anyway, there's that little clip right there. And I believe, I'm not positive, but I think I can just get on that with a pair of pliers and yank on the bottom of that and it'll pop out. And then there's that gray washer there that comes off, and then the pin, which is, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, that pin right there should pop out. So anyway, that is what I'm going to do off camera. If there's anything real difficult, and then I was able to remove this pin just by pulling it from the top side with just a pair of regular pliers there. But this is not like a regular washer. It's a little plastic piece bushing kind of thing here that you pull off. I had to use a little screwdriver to kind of carefully pry it off of there because it's on there pretty tight. And then the other thing I was wrong about is that pin actually doesn't pop out of there. You have to go up where I got my wrench here, up above, and where it's hooked at up there, I don't know what it is, right there is a 13 millimeter nut you got to pull off. So you actually got to pull that off, and then this whole pedal assembly will come out off of that pin. So anyway, we'll keep moving along here. I'm going to pull that off, and if anything else changes, I'll be back. Well, YouTube, got myself a conundrum here. That pin right there, it's got a 10 millimeter on this side and the 13 millimeter. That's the top one that goes to the top of the brake pedal. Well, in the interest of showing you better, and there's the pin that goes through, which then that and that go on after you get it through. In the interest of trying to show this to you, I tried pulling it out, and it turns out that there is a spring of some sort on here, and I'm hoping this is the direction it goes because it fell out, and there's lots of little parts and pieces that come apart on here on both sides and all that kind of stuff. So be careful if you need to take this out. But here's the deal, I wish I hadn't have, because I would have been able to maneuver this over enough with that out to take care of the brake booster problem, but now I gotta mess with all this spring stuff. So in your interest, loosen that all up, take it out, and carefully move it just enough to get that booster over the top of that, and then don't pull it the rest of the way out, because I have a feeling this might be a pain in the butt. But regardless, there you go, now you know. And a side note here, when you unhook the brake pedal and start messing with that, you are probably going to have your switch automatically go off. And another side note, I need to replace the bulb in this one because it's out. But anyway, and your inside light will be on, so you'll be running your battery down pretty fast. So take off the battery cable, and that'll hopefully keep the battery from dying. And really, anytime you're working on a car, it's a good idea to start out by disconnecting the battery cable for the most part. And we got all 4 bolts off or nuts off inside. It's time to start to try and one thing of note, I used a deep well 13 millimeter on 3 of the bolts, or on 3 of the nuts, and I had to use just a regular socket. Just stuck it on the bolt and kind of used the end of the socket to get it off. I don't know how to explain that, but basically the steering wheel was in the way, so it was kind of a pain in the butt. So you have to figure out how to get that lower left hand one off. Anyway, now it is all loose in here. I should, in theory, be able to pull this out of here, but I am seeing that it seems this is going to be in the way. And I really don't want to unhook it, because then you got to bleed your whole brake system and go through a big rigmarole of that, but it may be necessary. Well, it's going well, and I'm not going to stick it back in there to re-show you. Basically, I bungee corded this over as far as I could, as carefully as I could. Here's one of those places where I say if you do anything I do and you break your stuff, I am not responsible. If you don't like the way I'm doing it, don't do it. But we got that most of the way out. I'm going to have to do some more jimmying to try and get that. Looks like it's going to go sideways and then come out. So for now, that is the direction I'm going, and I'm not going to bother filming it. It's just going to be me wrestling this thing out of here, and you'll just be in the way. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was a little bit difficult getting out. I had to move it around quite a bit and move the master cylinder around and really move it more than I wanted to. So far it doesn't appear that I have any breakage or leaks. I'm going to take a real good look once I have everything back in and make sure we don't have any leaks anywhere. But now I got to wrestle the new one back in. Alright, well, that went in a lot better than before. Couple things I might change next time. I might actually, what I probably should have done was actually unbolt those 4 bolts on the inside first before I took out that brake pedal, because that might have allowed the actual brake booster to maneuver out from that pin. So you may try that first. If that doesn't work, you're gonna have to mess with your brake pedal more. All in all, it's replaced the 4 bolts on the inside. We got to put the master cylinder back on and get that brake pedal up in there. So it's all reverse of what you've already done to pull it out. If anything changes or there's a little tip or trick, then I'll come back and tell you about that. But for now, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master none. You all have a good one.